was registered to. I can prove whose phone it was at the time. I can prove who had it at the time.
Had what?
A cell phone. Where you know your old number, that shit got cut off February 5th. Yeah, I know, because your mom turned it off.
Hey, when I watched this part of the interrogation, it made me want to make a part 2 because it just showed me that this guy is a little boy. He's a kid. He lives with his mom. If it weren't for his mom, he probably wouldn't have anything to eat. He's on his mom's cell phone plan. And I'm not saying this to belittle him. I'm saying this because he's literally a child. He's 19. And what I'm saying is not referring to Leroy Whitaker, Scotty. I am speaking generally. He's facing allegations. He's innocent until proven guilty. So what I'm saying is not implicating him or trying to free him of anything. I mean, like I said, he's innocent until proven guilty. He has his day in court. I'm just using this as an example of where our youth is headed. These kids go into the law environment, meaning courtrooms, interrogation rooms. First of all, he shouldn't be speaking. He should have been asked for his lawyer. But most importantly, they don't know what they're up against because they're ignorant and they're young. He doesn't know anything about guidelines, statutes. Later on, the detective asked him, do you know the difference between a robbery and a burglary? And Scotty's looking at the floor and he says no. And you can tell by his demeanor that he's uncomfortable and that he's not an alpha male in the situation. He's weak and he's submissive, and that's because he's intimidated. He's scared, you know, and he's making a lot of mistakes. And it shows that these rappers, see, he's famous because a famous rapper keeps shouting him out and saying that he's a savage and he's in the streets putting in work. So of course that put the police on his trail, and they shout these guys out, and they're just kids living with their mom trying to be a gangster. You know, they're literally kids. And then you can really see the kid in them, the child in them, when they're at court, because they're just totally in an environment that they're not prepared for mentally. They don't know anything that's about to happen to them. They're you know, when the rappers are shouting them out, when they're in the videos, when they're on social media, they're tough, they're aggressive. But when they're in this law environment, they're scared because they don't know anything about what's going to happen. They have to be guided through the process. And what happens is there's a lot of content out there of lifers who just came out of prison after doing 40, 30 years. And these guys, these young guys, that's how they were at one point. Ignorant, making mistakes in life, trying to be with their friends and impress their friends. Then they go to prison. And when they get in prison and they become educated and they learn about the law, they learn about everything, they become intelligent. And they say, man, I sure was a dumb 20-year-old. And this is who they are when they first start out. And then when they turn 60, 70, they get out of prison and they know it. Hey, man, I was a stupid youngster. And it's sad because these youngsters now have to go through that. And it's so much evidence out there that they can look at and say, you know what, I am not choosing that lifestyle. Why would I want to be known as a shooter? Why would I want a rapper shouting me out who has millions of views, millions of dollars, millions of people who know who he is? He's on a major record label. Why would I want him shouting out that I'm a murderer or a shooter or I'm one of his hitters? That's so stupid. But these are kids, and they're living in this gangster fantasy land. They're not living in the real world, and you can really see that these are just youngsters. They're kids. They're babies, man, and they don't even know what they're up against. I don't even think these kids understand how wicked the law is because they don't know nothing about it. And it's sad because a lot of these kids are going to grow up to be those older guys saying, hey, I wish I would have learned when I was young. Peace. And learn your lesson, youngsters. Stop. I mean, that lifestyle that you like and glorify of the young killer who's wearing foreign clothes, Balenciaga, Amiri, Alexander McQueen. He's fresh and he's, you know, he doesn't even look like a killer, but he's a killer. I mean, that's not the thing to be. You know, you're going to go to prison, and then you're going to be that old man saying, damn, I wish I would have did this when I was younger. Wish I would have learned earlier.